Okay, so
Legendary Donuts isn't down here, so
hello,
I'll betray them all I want.
and welcome back to Age of Sunbrows. This is your host, SerSharkDad, and we have another podcast episode. Of course, we have another podcast episode because we have another patch, data patch that came out, and so we are having a bit of a roundtable discussion. It's going to be a patch plus, I think. We're going to talk about the patch, and we're going to talk about many things surrounding the patch. And so we have a eclectic group here of people that work on this YouTube channel and various opinions. And so we're just gonna go ahead and get right into it. So in case you are unaware, there was a patch that was released for Age of Empires 3 just recently on the 24th of October here on the screen. And we're going to kind of dive into the patch and then the subsequent reaction of the community following this patch. So we are joined here by GeneralSpades. We have PlatypusSlayer as well, and Madonna, all here, all four of us. And so we're pretty excited to kind of record and get our thoughts on it. So I think let's just get into it. So I'm going to give a little bit more context here. So we had a delay for the DLC. I forget exactly when that was announced. I believe it was a couple of weeks ago.
I think.
Yeah. And then they said, "Oh well," and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but then they said in the midst of that delay, they said, "But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna release a patch, and then that patch is gonna include balance changes and quality of life service to the game." So that was released. That was announced both on the forums, on the website, and on Twitter, and in the Discord. And so we waited until October 24th. Madonna was very excited. He was like, 1 o'clock rolled around and was like, "Where's the patch?" And then we got the patch. So
the patch didn't the patch didn't arrive at first.
No, it didn't.
Remember
it didn't.
that?
We waited 15 minutes.
Because it's a data patch, so to be fair, it doesn't roll out normally. But yes, they were even in the official Discord being like, "Guys, it's going live, please."
It was just kind of funny. Like people were like talking about how we're getting scammed. Like we're getting no patch.
We're getting scammed.
I'm gonna. I need to have a Age of Empires 3 podcast on like basic English vernacular, because I feel like the word scam has been absolutely like
just
destroyed thanks to the Empires 3 community, and people like just, I don't know, man. They need to we need to get new words.
We need new words. I'll just start by saying, and then we'll just kind of break off, and then just have this discussion just go crazy. This didn't change much. This is like on Reddit I compared this to wheel spinning. I said a lot of things changed, but nothing changed. I felt like there's not really much in terms of significant. Even when we looked at the shadow patch changes, there was really hardly anything to really go off of.
So like there's not really going to be a meta shift with this patch like we've seen in a lot of the patches, like the quote-unquote full patches. I kind of agree with that. Like the meta's not really that different going forward.
Well, I would say that there's a lot of, in this patch, I noticed two trends. The first thing was nerfing revolts.
Let's go down to that.
Revolts, I would say, is probably half of this patch, like changes to it. There were some boosts, so I shouldn't say pure nerfs, but a lot of the initial power spikes of revolts was reduced, whether it's through the slower revolutionary, whether it's the slower time to revolt, specific like unit shipments, right? Like the Argentina, probably the most OP revolt in the game, was nerfed. South Africa no longer can get Imperial war wagons for a third of the cost of going Imperial. I would also say that there was also a general trend here with a lot of team game laning stuff addressed. So the Inquisitor spam, which, team supremacy and balance was hanging on by a thread, but the Inquisitors, even cards that normally in 1v1 are niche or not used, like the Town Destroyer card, right? Mm. I think this also does indicate that the devs have been listening to a lot of common people, because, a lot of the nerfs to team game stuff, especially for Mexico and for Japan, the team orders, like these are things that you don't always see at the pro level, that you mainly see for like mid elo. So it definitely would appear that this patch was focus not at shifting the meta, but alleviating the quote unquote cancer lane, the builds that really destroy the fun for most of the player base.
Yeah, a few of those things trimming the edges. What do you think, Madonna?
I was thinking that, a lot of people, especially in our Discord, we've talked about how, in general, like the balancing is quite decent. Like there's only a few outliers. Like there's USA, Ottomans, like maybe like Italy with the revolts and stuff like that. So I think this patch, like it definitely like goes a long way to trying to fix those things, but I don't think they quite hit the mark. Like they didn't quite go enough with the changes. So the change that we did get was needed, but it's not quite enough for me at least.
What are you thinking specifically? Like you're saying it missed the mark. So what is the mark that needs to be hit? I think probably you and everybody else in this group is going to talk about United States. Would be my guess. I would think that you would know that there's going to be more for that, and Ottomans as well.
Exactly. I just feel like for example, they nerfed the Spahi shipments in H4 for Ottomans, but like why not?
The H3 ones too, right?
No, it doesn't.
Does not.
That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Really?
So yeah, it's quite. I thought it did
I
too.
Didn't read that right. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, me neither. So.
Oh god. Okay.
So literally nothing has changed about Ottomans until H4.
And even then, it's like
it's quite a minor.
The Spahi weren't really the cost of the shipment wasn't the problem,
thing. Right? Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It was and the fact that they can get to H4 in like sub 9 minutes
with ShadowTech units.
Start pumping out factories full of great bombards at faster than normal rates. And
from what I've seen, like the number one change people wanted is the mosque construction card to be at least looked at, which they didn't do anything about at all. Like they slightly nerfed the I can't say that word. What is it? The like 3 bombards or whatever, or the Nizams. I don't remember which one it is.
I'm streaming I'm sharing my screen. I'm looking. You can look at the patch notes here. Nizam Fusilier, right? The range and stand ground stance reduced from 18 from 20.
No, I'm talking about the top coup.
Oh, Kapakulu.
Yeah.
The core, the Kapakulu core. The melee armor increase now only applies to Spahi instead of all heavy cavalry.
And the cost increase of the heavy as well.
I do want to point out, with the change to the armor, somebody was trying to say that like, oh, now all Ottoman have is Hussar statistically because of like the lack of armor. I'm like, it's still faster and attacks faster, so still a boost, and that just shows you like how the power curve of Ottoman has been for the average person. Like to be stuck with merely a slightly better standard cav is seen as like a great disadvantage or like a great harm to the Civ identity.
Yeah.
And that just, we'll go into it later, but that I think is why a lot of people were expecting a meta shift. People were really expecting after 9 months of not having any updates, any patches, we were expecting a DLC to come. DLC gets delayed, which I want to point out thanks to World's Edge and Forgotten Empires for communicating that. Like this was the first time we've gotten communication in months. It was great. They were very precise. They said, this will be delayed. We're going to give you this, and we're going to try to give you something in the meantime for what should have been a huge update to Age of Empires 3 because we're stretched too thin on other games. Fun. This patch, I think that if you play a top Civ, you could play the top Civ. If you played a bottom Civ, you're still kind of at the bottom. The things you've struggled against, if you struggled into auto, nothing's changed. If you beat auto, nothing's changed. Other than I would say revolts and a few Civs.
Yeah, like
if you're queuing up today instead of 2 months ago, you're going to have a very similar experience. And that's not a bad thing per se, because the game is in a pretty good state, all things considered. But if this was your patch to get back into the game, you're probably disappointed.
What is the biggest like change or Civ that's been changed the most in this patch?
Russia, hands down.
Definitely
Is it
Russia.
Russia or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been
Italy's
actually
probably kind of up there,
Italy is up there too. Yeah.
but
I've been almost exclusively trying out Russia after this patch,
Which is not what you're allowed to do, by the way, young man. We've had a
no,
discussion.
we agreed.
Yeah, we all agreed.
We agreed.
It's Italy only right now.
We are all spamming Italy,
yeah, I'm
figuring this stupid Civ out.
Just forget what I said. Okay.
No, so what are you finding? What are you finding?
Tell us what you think. You've opened that can of worms. Now you
Yeah.
get to enjoy the spotlight. Tell us
Have
about
you
Russia.
tried Russian American company yet?
I have. So they changed it. That's the new card, but they also changed the other card that gives you 2 blockhouses
Right.
now. That used to only give you extra hit points for the blockhouses. And while the Russian American company is definitely the most like unique one, I do think they have like you can combine them in very interesting ways, but it's gonna take a while for the meta to shift, I think, because it's not like an immediate like power spike. Any of these cards, like it's just 2 blockhouses, they can be taken down by like 2 fox easily.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it opens up some more H3 play for Russia. Like you can like it just makes the whole, like you can keep up way better. You don't necessarily have to go H4, like you can stay H3 for a lot longer, since you can get up to 1.43 food gather rate with your villagers, which is actually insane.
That's insane. Holy shit.
Yeah. So it synergizes really well with the spice trade, for example. But other than that, it's not really a huge change. Like it's not gonna change the way you play Russia. It's just gonna give you a slight boost in the mid game.
I want to, I think the theory behind this, look, the way that Russia's been played for most of DE is one build, 14 vills, forward blockhouse, 5 Cossacks, Baskamach, or a batch of Musketeers. I think this card, at least the aim of it, is to allow Russia to play a bit more passive, a bit more turtley, a bit more boomy, right? Because that is the biggest problem with Russia, is that you have one build in 1v1s.
Can I just chime in here? I don't necessarily know. Like, it's gonna take time for the meta to evolve, obviously, but I don't necessarily think it's gonna change Russia in that way, that the way you're saying. Because even if you send the Russian American company, for example, it just boosts your gather rate. Like it's not an immediate power spike. You require like at least 5 minutes for that to start to actually pay off, you know? So it's not really gonna change the way you play Russia. So what I've had the most success with is just playing standard Russia and then maybe go to H3 slightly quicker than I normally would, which is, really fun, because usually you just play H2 the entire game.
That's a bummer, but I agree. Like, it may not be the shift. I think that'll be a persistent theme we'll to keep touching back on, right? Is like, clearly the intention here is to give Russia a lot more flexibility in how they play, but like, will it pay
Absolutely.
off?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I think we're just gonna have to see, honestly, like in the coming weeks and months, because we're probably not gonna get another patch for a couple of months. So
it's got to be till 2025, right? I mean, the next patch we're gonna get, if there's nothing significantly broken in that, like in terms of bugs, like we're not gonna get another patch until the DLC drops, right?
Yeah, but it just like one quick thing, like with the Russians, if you go up there again, for example, they gave you a falconet for the blockhouse cannon cards.
Okay.
That card makes it so you can train falconets and later mortars from your blockhouses, which is, and now it gives you a falconet, which is, that's quite cool, but it's not huge. You're likely gonna send 2 falcons instead before you send that card. And if you think about it, why not just send a fort instead of that card? Because from a fort you can train literally all your infantry and cavalry and falconets. So you see what I'm saying? It's not really like it's not gonna shift the meta in that way. It's just
because you can do
giving
a
you
falconet timing.
Slightly more. Yeah, I guess, like, it's not huge, but why not?
Right.
Like, I'm not mad about it. It just feels a bit timid.
Yeah, like most of the changes have been timid, right? So if we there's a lot of Swedes. There was a lot of conversation about the Swedes, right? So a lot of shifting around of the Hakkapellet, cavalry damage cards, fin horses, all these things. You can look at that, but
they can't figure out what they want to do.
Exactly. Exactly. It's just like,
I don't
okay,
think they know.
we shifted some numbers around, and it doesn't really change anything. United States, right? Let's I don't want to necessarily open this up exactly, but what do you see? Okay, state capital gets a bit of a nerf, so you don't quite
That's
get
actually a huge nerf.
that 100 XP difference,
100
right?
XP.
That was a free shipment, but really, we moved the Carbine Cav around, doesn't do much. General gives more XP. Okay, we remove one owl hoot, right? I mean, like, I understand that there's some fixes here, the huntable reduction, but we're just playing with things on the periphery, on the edges, right? There's no mechanic change. There's not the same sort of reworks that we were seeing before. And I'm not saying that it should be the case. I think the balance, as Platt was saying before, is that it's quite good. But all these changes are just on the edge changes, which kind of starts to bleed into that other issue, because, and Platt brought it up, right? It's been 9 months. It was 9 months in between the last patch and this patch. And so there's two things in my head going on at the same time, and I want to know what you guys think. We have option one, in that this developer team is taking in data and working on patches, over time. Now they're working on other games, right? But they're working on things here, right? They're collecting data, taking a look at the game, deciding what to do next, right? And this is over the course of 9 months. And so then they say, oh, the DLC is delayed, but we had planned to do a patch, or, a patch is coming up, so, that will be, and that's a good communication there. That's option one, right? And then, but option one's pretty bad, because that means you've been working on a patch, and then this is the only thing that you've come up with. And it's like, okay, well, you had 9 months, and this is the result, is these periphery changes, things tertiary, really. Or the other option is that you decided to put out a patch because of the DLC delay, and you only had a few weeks, and so you only could do these little data patch changes, and which makes more sense from a timeline perspective, but makes less sense in terms of a communication, because you didn't say anything. You said the DLC was delayed, and therefore there's a patch. Like, you didn't say that. You just said the DLC is delayed, we have a patch coming out. Just come out and say. Just come out. I'm just gonna finish with, just come out and say it. Just say one way or the other. Just say, like, so therefore we're gonna do some patching, just to satiate things, and the community can accept that. Or you can say that we've been working on this, and then have it be just a lot of not much. You know what I mean? So anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
So I think what this is they realized they weren't gonna be able to drop. I think these changes were going to be a part of the patch, the DLC drop, and then they realized, there's not enough funding, or whatever the case may be. There's not enough time to get this done, so they cut out the DLC part of the patch and dropped this instead.
So we know for a fact that there was originally a patch that was supposed to go live back in July, or that at least it was being worked on. I shouldn't say go live, right? Because there's a whole process, and none of us are granted the insider knowledge, right, of internal processes and where stuff is at. But there was a patch per devs that was being worked on back in July and June. So I realized what happened was, we know at one point the entire Age of Empires 3 team was reassigned to AOM. Age of Mythology, because it's the same engine, same asset. There's a lot, it makes sense from a business perspective, let's say, right? So between January 31st and October 24th, there's only been 2 green lights for them to even work on Age of Empires 3 stuff. And so I think one of the biggest, like you had just said, SerShark, there's a big disconnect, because like you said, there's 2 ways of looking at it in the absence of clear communication. The first one is they had all of this time, and this is what they came up with. And I think a lot of the upset, nature would be if you had 9 months. This is it. Like if you go through, like, can we look at Ethiopia really fast? I think this is an example why people are upset. So Ethiopia is a civ that at the highest elos can be very
Pardon me.
intimidating. They have a very broken rush, and one specific, the triple racks rush, as it's called, or Melanchola build. Shout out to Melanchola, who we did a civ overview with, if you're interested in what that is. And their Abens are insanely overpowered coin gatherers. There's no way other to say, and they can glitch and do this healing thing. But the civ is one of the lowest played civs in the game. It has one of the worst win rates in the game, and for the average person, has almost no interest in the civ. If you are a Ethiopian main, you're probably not playing it anymore. The civ rates, play rates of the civ are just in the gutter. So you love Ethiopia, you love cows, and I actually like this civ. I play this quite a bit. The first thing I did was come back in.
Yeah.
Yes. Nothing has changed other than you are worse off. So all the weaknesses of the civ are there. The gimmick rush is dead. You are now left for apparently up to all the way to the DLC possibly, with a civ that just feels worse.
Yep, 100%.
To be fair, and to provide kind of some anecdotal, I suppose, counterpoints, we've got players in the server that are quite successful, at least in team games, just completely booming with Ethiopia. So maybe this will kind of affect the meta and get more people to realize that Ethiopia can be a pretty good boom civ. But again, that's kind of anecdotal.
Well, you've seen me. Like, I've done some, like, Neftenia and Javelin builds. I've done all sorts of stuff with that civ. But, again, I've got my little kiddo in my lap right now. I don't have a lot of time to play this game. Ethiopia is a very complex civ. This patch gives me no reason to look forward to playing Ethiopia again. Like, it's just like, oh, my timings are worse. My Big Benny is nerfed because, I didn't want to triple Kiskenia rush every game. So now my whole civ is worse off. And I feel like you'll see that with Inca a little, even though Inca got some boosts. Not necessarily better off. China got nerfs. Aztec just got nerfed. Like, a lot of these civs just got nerfs. They may have been needed, but after 9 months, the builds that you love are less. The other builds that you may have not wanted to explore are no more viable.
Right. I'm now gonna move us to. I know Madonna wanted. He's like, can we just talk about the patch? And I'm just not gonna allow it.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. But now I'm switching gears here because, did they change the? Where's the actual announcement? I'm gonna look at the. Here we're gonna go in the. I'm gonna look.
The actual and okay. I have it.
You know what I'm gonna say here.
Yeah.
Because
QOL.
Here, DLC delayed. It would be like them to sneakily.
That was on the 10th, by the way.
Okay. All right, here we go. We will, however, be releasing a new update for Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition. This will go live at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on October 24th and adds quality of life updates and balance changes.
Okay.
You're not not happy about the fishing boat sounds?
I don't think any of us are happy that it's just fishing boat sounds.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna preface it with this before anybody in the comments or here or wherever is gonna get slick with me about how it's not that deep, bro. It's just a game, this, that, and the other. I understand. Okay. We do all this content creation stuff for free because we like the game and we're all good friends here. We have a good time with each other. We enjoy what we do. I love the game for the most part. And when I win or lose, when I make a podcast episode, when I do a Civ Spotlight, when I cast a game, when a balance patch comes out, none of this affects my bank account. I totally get it. Nothing in my life changes at all. So I'm fully aware of that. I still spent money on this game. I spent money on the DLCs, and I spent my time promoting the game, pushing the game, advocating for it, making content for it. Okay. 9 months. Technically 8 months and like some weeks, but let's just call it 9 months. 9 months. That is enough time for Platt's wife to be pregnant and to birth a daughter. 9
Actually,
months.
like it almost followed the same trajectory.
Jeez. See, so it's in. I'm gonna start with an extreme statement, and then you guys can kind of walk me back so we can find the more proper position. I will say, I'm gonna say this. This is pathetic. And if the developers are watching, if any community manager is watching this, because sometimes I know you do, I want you to know that this is pathetic. I want you to know that thousands and thousands of people have bought this game, and this is, I think, unacceptable. I think it is unacceptable for you to tell me that you're going to add quality of life to an update change and then not put it. If anybody wants to tell me that quality of life means audio on fishing boats, then I'm sorry.
Like translate. Don't forget the translations.
And the translations. Go ahead and play in traffic. I'm sorry. Just go play in traffic. Like I don't want to hear it. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and it's ridiculous because we look at these other titles. We see what you have done in Age of Mythology. We know that it is possible. It's the same freaking engine. We see all the love and the support all these other games get, and you cannot, for the life of you, even add one quality of life change. Just one. Just take your pick and just do one, or just communicate. It's adapt, and that's another thing, right? Because then when I say this in the official Discord, and I'm like, "Where's the quality of life changes?" Your communication is awful. Either remove the sentence or explain yourself. Oh well, it's a data patch. This is what I'm told. It's in the official Discord. Well, it's a data patch. Just keep that in mind. Yeah, that's my problem. Why is it a data patch when you had 9 months and you could have added a quality of life change? Just one. Unranked queue, changing the way that our elo works, adding a proper profile page. I don't know what, people have talked about tons of different changes, and you haven't added one. And then your excuse is, well, it's a data patch. Yeah, that's my problem.
Why was it a data patch in the first place?
Right, exactly.
Why wasn't it a full-on sit there and watch it download?
You say it right here. Quality of life updates. This is the thing that the game needs the most. It's not balance changes, it's quality of life, because this game is sorely missing features. It has lots of fun stuff. You added all the historical scenarios, scenario editor. We have, you got the Bombard Brawl, which is, kind of stupid, but whatever. We have these things, but you cannot, for the life of you, add the quality of life changes and all these features that are present in other titles and are not here. And that is what attracts and keeps players, in my opinion. And so
in Age of Empires 4, look how often they get event updates.
Well, they get seasonal. It's like a seasonal thing, right? Is it monthly? Do they have monthly seasons or?
Yep. And Age of Mythology is also being set up to have the same thing. Age of Empires 2 has the same thing. Again, I know we're the least played, but even proportionally.
No, we're not. We've got better numbers than Mythology now.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
But it's more popular on Twitch. Everybody points out. And the thing is that people say, well, don't get toxic. Just relax. Don't be mad. Because, the reason why they don't help us is because we're such a toxic community. Stop gaslighting me. Stop it. Because there are plenty of video game communities out there, RTS communities out there that are far more toxic than we are. I promise you that. And people have been telling us for years now, don't be toxic, don't be toxic. There are people who are toxic in this community. I won't name them, but they're out there, and they're still allowed. They're still allowed to spread their whatever, their scamming propaganda all over the place. And then when somebody decides to pipe up, when we have been out here, and I decide to finally say, yo, where's the quality of life changes that you promised right here? Oh, hey, relax, man. What is this?
No, Shark, you went about it right. You were respectful. You communicated, hey, this is unacceptable. In the official Discord, at least from what I saw, you went about it, and you were like, what the fuck? Yeah. Respectfully, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. This is just a data patch. And there's a wrong way to go about it, and a certainly more toxic way to go about it. And we've seen kind of some of that reaction. And I really think it boils down to we are, as a community, fed up with how the game has been treated in terms of we're the black sheep.
Yeah.
We're always a black sheep. We're never in any official communication. Recently, they changed their Twitter profile picture, but What the fuck? Like, we are a good
When people get
game.
excited for the Twitter profile picture change, it just shows you how much you've been battered around. You know what I mean? Like, that's so pathetic.
But I mean, that is kind of where we're at, you know. Like because I've had the kiddo, I've been a step back. So I'm gonna play a bit devil's advocate. I'm gonna play a little bit more conservative, kind of positioning here with towards the company. So, you know, it's not great, you know, and there's so much stuff that could be prevented. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, they say it's a data patch. Where is it written here on the announcement that this is a data only patch?
Let's take a look.
It's not. It's not.
A new update. That's all they say. It's a new update.
Yep. And updates have always been, for Age of Empires 3, relatively significant when they use the term updates.
Right.
This isn't this like. I don't think we've ever received just a data patch.
Never.
Like where the
Never.
game
It always was
actually
presented
update.
as a hot fix. They would always say hot fix, whatever, if it ever was. Anything.
Yeah,
like
and
this.
then you wouldn't like have to sit there and watch it download.
Right.
Yeah, you know,
If it's a hot fix.
And again, like, I think that a lot of the ways that, so when this patch came out and people read the notes, there was an explosion, and a lot of it is people overhyping themselves. You know, like there's a kind of a logical fallacy. Just because it's been 9 months doesn't mean that somebody has been working on it for 9 months, or that there's 9 months of data coming into something in any game, in any situation, right? Like, they were pretty, to me, when they said we can't even roll out a DLC with that, we can't even give you a date that it's been delayed to, like, that's corporate speak for, like, it ain't ready. It ain't even close to being ready.
Right.
And I went into this patch with tempered expectations. You know, again, some of my complaints, and I'll wait and let you guys have more of your thoughts, will have to be how they reacted. Like how you said in the official Discord, I think there's a lot of growth there that they need to do to foment a community, because, okay, you don't have time, you gave us something, and for that I'm appreciative. You know, there's a lot of the laming stuff was addressed, a lot of the gimmicky stuff was addressed. That's fine. You know, the game is in a stable state now that my little girl's a little bit bigger and I actually have time to even do like a podcast. I look forward to getting back into this game. Like, I'm not disappointed in it, and watching people, even if they're completely justified on their position, like the emotional reactions they had was sad. Like, you're a grown ass man or woman or whatever, and you are arguing with you are like basically threatening some bean counter, you know, or just some community manager whose job is just to be like a sales rep and take all the shit. Like, that's their job. Like, what? Like, you're just yelling at someone because they have to take it, right?
And that's,
a lot of
that's
people.
the unacceptable part for me.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because like I said, there's people that constantly are out to attack other community members and destroy the community, and they sit there in the official Discord and just glaze the community managers while shitting on everybody else. And they go completely undetected. So, you know, to kind of wrap around, while this patch wasn't the problem is how they've treated the community. We didn't get a single support for a tournament until September, when they finally had a calendar with ESOC on it, the closest thing we have to a premier event in Age of Empires 3.
Mm-hmm.
There is no promotion of community mods. I mean, Assertive Wall, the Age of, what's it called? The Age of Discovery, I think it is, with all those wonderful civs. It's like a modern Wings of Liberty, or Wars of Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
There are like Iron Kaiser's UI mod, you know, all those UI mods. There's no recognition from this community. However, in the official Discord, they have banned prominent members time and time again to just support whoever, and it's like there's no fermenting of like a community feeling. So what happens is we have this patch. The patch in and of itself is fine. I have no problem with the patch, really. Right. I look at it like, some people wanted more. Get good. Sorry. Like, there's a lot of this that can be boiled down to get good. It's not a meta shift, but that can be up to you. She's stirring, so I'm going to have to wrap this up. Long story short, yeah, while some of the gamers sound like my 2-month-old daughter in the Discord, that's not going to help anything. Like, we have to be a lot more concise and a lot more directed. And I think as a community, we're going to have to organize more, because the community, the actual supports have shown zero willingness to do anything except with this corporate speak and ban people that piss them off.
There you go. Boom. Yeah. Now, Madonna, I know that you're from Sweden, and so therefore you guys are aggressively non-combatant.
Yeah.
But you have to have a thought on this. I mean, this is just.
Oh no, I like to go with the consensus. I don't have opinions.
Oh, come on.
Well,
You've got
so your consensus on this is.
Lay it out for us.
I mean, I don't know. I
But you know these. I mean, you know Shake, and you know a lot of the people in this community, right? You kind of.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So with the Shake thing, I don't know who I've told this to before, but I do feel like he's taking like a hit for the team, or like he's taking one for the team.
He is.
Like he, you know, somebody's got to be the asshole and like be loud and annoying, you know, because that's how you get attention a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Squeaky wheel and all.
Yeah, so you know, I do respect him doing that, and I don't know all the connections between the admins on the official Discord and all that stuff. Like, there's a lot of history that goes into a lot of the discussions there, so I can't really speak on that. But it seems to me like there's definitely like a bit of a rift in the community that's not gonna get resolved from a patch like this, because nobody's happy, and then there's people who, you know, fight with each other more than they used to. So
Yeah, let's talk about.
Well, I mean, to be honest, like, has there ever been a patch where like the community as a whole has been like, this is fucking awesome?
The France rework.
Okay.
No, I mean, okay, so wait, there's like different types of players, right, in the community. So
yeah, that's true.
for every patch, basically, you know, the ESOC guys, they just hate it because they love Legacy, and every single patch, we've gone further and further away from, you know, the Legacy days, basically. So, but then there's lots of new people who love the revolts, who enjoy them, and you know, there's a lot of people like us who are somewhere in the middle. We can appreciate the new things, but we can also hate on you know, Argentina revolt because it's fucking broken.
Yeah, I mean, so I want to kind of give some more context to exactly what we're talking about here. And so a lot of this is occurring on Discord, official Discord, and within various communities that exist within Age of Empires 3. So if you are somebody who only exists within some bros, or maybe only exists within Free Food Party or something like that, then you're not going to necessarily be aware. Like, if you're just a guy and you're like, I just like listening to you guys talk and I'm not aware of these things, then God bless you. That's amazing. Like, and I think you should. I think
don't
you
join any of the
Holy shit.
Discords.
don't
please.
ever don't do any of this stuff because it's so sad. But
Just play the game and enjoy it and do
Yeah,
your thing, man.
But the thing is, what we're talking about here, and when I mentioned Shake is a, he's an individual. I think he's involved with ESOC historically. Am I right about that? I think he's in ESOC.
I'm not sure.
No, so he is one of the founding members of the Free Food Party. He
Okay.
is a pretty high-level player. He funds a lot of events from his own personal money.
Right.
He's contributed to ESOC. He's worked with, ESOC. He helped create the Free Food Party webpage, although Bronchi and Caverna do like 99% of the coding and stuff. And one thing that Shake is really good at is reaching out to people. He's doing like, as of 10/27, the recording, he's actually, I think, in a best of 7. He's constantly running show matches, constantly throwing money to either other communities. So he can be a bit of a hothead, and I'm sure, Shake, if you're listening to this, you'd shake your head in agreement, right? But he's passionate, and he wants to see this game grow, and he's constantly outreaching with other servers, with other players, trying to make bridges and move this game forward. So just a bit of a background.
And thank you for that. And I want to say that as we continue to go forward, at least for me personally, and I agree with Madonna, Shake, if you listen to this, man, like, I appreciate you, and I think you're doing good work. We love you, man, and I actually really appreciated you blowing up on this. Now other people are going to say, well, he didn't need to go that far. Okay, but the context here is that Shake, as Platt has just described, is just a pillar of the community, and putting his own money and his own time into the game. Okay. And then he is demanding some kind of communication, some kind of understanding from the community manager for Age of Empires 3 or just across the various Age of Empires discords. And he has been ghosted, just totally sandbagged, like just no communication whatsoever, constantly complaining. And then because he then lashed out and said, hey, you know, we didn't get any of the things that were promised. There's a lack of communication because this game, we're constantly just being put on the back burner despite all of my best efforts. And this developer team and these community managers, I mean, we're talking minimal effort to just come alongside of us and work with us, communicate with us. And you could just put something on the official Discord to communicate something, to disseminate out information. We'll take care of that for you. Or you could say, you know, hey, we want to talk about things and give a little peek behind the curtain and come on your podcast. And then that way you get the word out, or you can communicate your own perspective on these things. And none of that ever happens. And so Shake is blowing up about this. And I think he was just like, banned for a week or something like that from the official, a month,
28 days.
So, weeks, and then so he's banned, and then he gets into some other fights in some other discords, including the Sunbros Discord, but that's neither here nor there. But all because he is just calling these things out. And you know, I understand that they have rules to uphold, and I'm not saying that he shouldn't have been banned just simply because of, you know, maybe the language that was going back and forth. But I think for the most part,
very abrasive.
Yeah, yeah, but
like. Yes, he has a right, and probably needed to be someone to step up and be like, what the actual fuck, this is unacceptable.
Right.
And for that, Jake, like, I appreciate that. Like, I don't think anybody thinks you were wrong to blow up, but the language that was used was potentially a little bit too, not potentially, it was a little bit too much, if you ask me.
But I think what we're getting at, sorry, really quick, I'll just say for my own piece, and I think you guys will shake your heads at this in agreement, in that, you know, it really is, regardless of where you stand on the spectrum of exactly how heated this needs to get, I think all of us walk away from this a little bit saddened. And I hope the developers, I hope the community managers hear this. We're just saddened by this. I think it's a continuous disappointment. And this is just another, this is like kind of the straw that broke the camel's back in my mind, and where like we're now like the patience is now run out, and I'm not buying the DLC. Like, I don't care. I'm not buying it. Like, until something changes, you know, like, you're not getting any more money from me. And I know that doesn't mean a lot, probably, in the grand scheme of things, because people will go and they'll buy whatever. You guys have your money. But I can't, like, in good conscience, because it's just so sad that just nothing, just not even communication. I can't even say not even quality of life changes. It's just the fact that nothing is even communicated. And so somebody needs to come out. Shake had to come out and like you guys are saying, take the bullet and be the squeaky wheel here, just because you guys don't listen. Like, nobody is listening to us. Nobody cares. It's just corporate speak, like Blatt's saying. That's all we're getting.
And this is not the first time that the community, and it's so sad because, like, all right, despite as much as I love to argue, this may come as a shock, I actually don't like to spend my free time complaining. Like, I've got this wiggling thing in my lap. Like, that takes all of my energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the fourth time that it's happened now on the official servers where we've had to have like a meltdown before we get any information, any communication. And it's so sad because what it does is it pushes away the positive people, right?
Yeah.
Because even like me, I was not engaged because I'm like, dude, I haven't slept for a few days, like, or showered even. Like, I don't have time for this, you know? Like, people that work and have jobs and lives, like, they're just gonna walk away. And so it's like, all that's going to be left is toxic people if the only way we ever get anything positive or any sort of movement is by being toxic. So it was the same thing with the when the patch was delayed last year. We had to throw a fit before we got a name or a date, you know. Okay, 1 second.
Yeah. Oh man.
I don't know. Like, I just really, I love playing this game. Like, I really do. I have an unreasonable, like, you could call it an addiction, I suppose. Like, this game is just fun for me, and see the developers seem to just have such a lack of respect for the community as a whole is frustrating. I think you put it really well, Shark. And like we're not mad, we're disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, like top posts on the forums, don't try to placate us. You have nothing to show, right here. There's nothing. There's no quality of life. You just or you're trying to placate a group. They're just fans of AoE too. I mean, it's all over. It's all over the social media. Anybody on official forums on Reddit, and it's rippled through the Discord of like, you know, as Madonna was saying, and the rest of us are saying that it's a good patch. You know, you're resolving some things, you're working on the peripheries, like that's awesome. That's great. And yet it's been 9 months, guys. 9 months. And I understand maybe you're saying, you know, of course maybe, oh well, we're working on other things, and there's other titles that we could pull away from, and you know, I promise you we have plenty of meetings and we have these discussions and this, that, and the other, and I'm like, you know, save it.
Yeah, all we got in 9 months was 2 PNGs of Civ flags. Like, you serious?
I mean, how many times?
What I don't understand, if I can just chime in,
please.
Like, would it really be that hard to involve the community more, like in the like in the development of the game?
Well, that's my question. Is like, how come nobody has ever like? It doesn't even have to be us. I'm not even saying like for us. I'm just saying just like, why is it Talanis just randomly in Twitch streams talking to people, and that is the most communication you're ever gonna get if you happen to catch Talanis in your Twitch stream at the right time. Like, why isn't anybody sitting down with Lionheart or Soldier for an interview? You know, why isn't anybody like going to them and saying, hey, listen, like, we want to give you like a sort of like backstage pass into see like the early alpha of like the new civs, and maybe like tease these things out and we get to like talk about it, or how about we have like a separate Discord for content creators, and we and our community manager will like organize you all together so you guys can run events, and you know what, hell, we'll even throw $500 in just to kind of get a show match, like, you know, oh you guys are doing the Santa Smash, yeah, we would love to like promote that, and we'll throw some money and kind of post about it on the forums and all that kind of. Why not any of those things? You're absolutely right to point that out, because I think it's so easy. It's so easy. Like, yeah,
like this could all be done by volunteers. Like,
yes,
like,
literally, quite
just
literally.
Just give them like an official connection, like with the I don't know, like some community manager, or hire some new community managers. Like, you don't have to pay them. Like, there's lots of people who would love to just, you know, spend their time, you know, communicating and getting people together for fun events.
Or just a part-time job.
Yeah,
like,
and,
even that.
And like all of this, a lot of the, if you look at the, for example, Free Food Party, ESOC, even our Discord, like we do a lot of events, like all of us together. But like, why isn't the community managers, like, why aren't they involved? Like, why they don't even know we exist, barely. Like, it's so weird.
Remember when they like disclosed something, and like on the event, the guy that was running the event for Age of Empires 3 hadn't played a single game, because we had the Explore skin where every week you would do a tick, you know, if you played one game. And
it could have been a 5-second skirmish at that. Like, you literally had to open up a skirmish and press resign, and it counted.
And I want to be like, to add some more context, I know for a fact there have been attempted developer discords in the past and balance teams. Like, these things have been done. And I just think that the amount of effort put into it, like, again, we'll put some blame on the players. There's a lot of politics in the background of Age of Empires 3. Like, you asked, why can't they sit down with Lionheart? Well, somebody worked very hard to try to destroy any credibility, and they continue to, you know, through various alt accounts. Although Lionheart's not perfect, but, you know, this is the stuff that goes on in the background that I swear they use as an excuse not to continuously push for this. Now, World's Edge did not have a community manager for like a year or something, right? And so a lot of stuff has gone by the wayside, but we continue to be in a place where every other organization in the Age of Empires umbrella has these things. And if you look at our player counts and you look at our sales, we are not so bad like that we deserve 0. Like Age of Empires 1 DE had like 600 players a day. We have 5,000, I think, has been the average.
6,000. Yeah, 6,000 usually.
You know, again, not huge numbers. And again, maybe not even talking about events, but what about just like communicate? We used to get dev blogs. We don't even get that. I communicate bugs. Half the stuff doesn't get fixed. And the way I see it, like, because again, my kid's Scorman, so I'm going to try to put it in like 2 sentences, a complicated thing. I think that this organization, and that basically, just like how if my kid is speeding and thrashing around without any direction, it feels like they don't have.
Uh-oh.
We lost him. Uh-oh. No.
I think to summarize what he's saying, he's like, if a kid is thrashing around without any sort of direction, you don't know what the heck is going on, and then what are we supposed to glean from that? What are we supposed to gain from that as a community when the developers and our community manager inspire negative confidence in what the future of the game holds and what's going on? And in fact, to be super cynical about all of this, first off, that announcement, by the way, if anybody from WE or wherever the hell you are is still listening to this, that announcement for our 2 new civs was atrocious. Like, to go all the way back then to that Twitch stream, like, that was crazy. Like, just, oh, we have 2, here you go, we're gonna flash the flags on the screen.
How long of it was an hour?
It was an hour, yeah, and it was
of Twitch stream, and we got, I think, 5 seconds.
I want you all to
of
know,
that hour.
I want you all to know our Discord arranged a freaking watch party event for this. A watch party event.
We did. Oh my god, that was so fun. But it was such a disappointment.
Yeah, and so, but here's the thing: is that you guys don't care. You don't care. There were dozens of people sitting in our Discord watching your live stream, so excited, only for you to do that. And there's not a single person. I don't think, we don't get the feeling, at least. I'm sure there are people that care, but the image that is being given is an utterly a lack of care. This is the only way that I can understand it. And then I think after that announcement, you guys didn't work on the DLC at all, because other projects required attention, and that's fine.
Age of Mythology.
Right. And then all of a sudden they said, okay, now go work and build the civs. And then you're like, oh, we don't actually have the time to build the civs, so we're just gonna have to delay it. Let's give them a patch.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, all they had was during that Twitch stream was, we know what civs we want to add to the game, and here are the flags. Like that's probably all they had, is we knew these civs were going to be added. We'll start working on it after Age of Mythology drops, and then Age of Mythology drops, and they're like, oh wait, we actually need to support this game. We don't have resources to give to Age of Empires 3, so they're like, okay, Tilanus, you can just you can work on the DLC. And now he's overworked and burnt out, and like he's like, I can't fucking get the DLC done in time. Like, the best I can do is this fucking data patch. And that's what they had to work with.
Yeah, and I can't.
And that's my theory, anyways.
Yeah, you can't be mad. I can't exactly be mad if people are really being pulled in different directions and being overworked, and which is likely what is occurring. And so, I have to tone down the rhetoric. But again, it, like as Madonna is saying, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to have somebody just stand in the gap and just be open, honest, and transparent about these things. I think people are far more understanding than you're giving them credit. And then when you try to do these like weird half efforts, I guess, that like somehow show up every once in a while, I think it actually makes it worse.
I mean, yeah, we are absolutely understanding. Like, they announced, hey, the DLC's not ready. It's going to be delayed, and we're going to give you this patch. And for 2 weeks, we're like, oh, you know what? That's fine. Like, we understand. We want these things, and we want the DLC to be in a polished state. We don't want it to be released and have the civs be either woefully underpowered or absolutely abusively broken. We want a good DLC, and so we're like, okay, that's fine. Take your time, get the patch right, get it done, and then release it. And then 2 weeks go by, and we get this with promised QOL changes that didn't happen, except fishing boat audio. And we're like, I didn't even, to be honest, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, the fishing boat audio was fine to me. Like, I was like, that's it. That's it. Something that didn't even bother me in the first place, and fuck, it's just I don't know what to say. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, we haven't seen much out of the patch. And like Madonna says, I don't think it's going to change a great deal. As Platt says, it's not going to change. I think all of us are saying it's not going to change a great deal. We're excited for some of those changes for sure.
As an Italy main, I'm excited to see
newly minted Italy mains, all 5 of
we're
us.
the Italy-
Hey, you guys are the newly minted Italy mains, all right? I've been playing it since release, so I mean, granted, I play it and I don't play one. It's impossible for me to play 1v1s because I just don't have the mental strength to do that. But
oh, this is great. That's it.
that's good.
The mental strength.
No, I don't have the mental strength to play 1v1. I know it's a weak Civ. It's fun. It's fun in 2v2s. I enjoy it in 2v2s.
I think
But
we
again,
all.
I'm not
I think we all agree that it's a decent balance patch. It addresses a few issues, and it kind of it's like trimming on a haircut, right? You're just kind of just getting a little bit of the little loose ends and kind of brushing things off and putting things together.
They buffed Baja though.
Yeah, dude, but there's so many little things in this patch as well at the same time, gameplay-wise, like nerfing Ethiopia and buffing Baja. I'm like, I don't understand. Do you guys know? Do you all are aware of the fact that the Cuatrero from the Baja Revolt, those dragoons destroy skirmishers? Like, it makes no sense that, again, it's like 9 months of going into a game and being like, hey, I have really bad skirmishers in H2, and then Mexico revolts into Baja and then makes nothing but dragoons and I lose. Like, that's crazy. Like, if I'm not playing Dutch that double card skirms, like, to beat these guys, then I just lose. It's like... And that's not even addressed. And so there's a few things in this patch that just are mind-boggling to me. But I think the worst and the most egregious thing is that you guys said quality of life. You guys said that. I mean, we had the text proof. You should have just taken down that post. You promised that, and it was not delivered. And there was an utter lack of communication from quite literally anybody in this game that gives us an understanding as to exactly why that is the case. And more importantly, in a game that there's so much effort being put into it from your community, nobody is coming alongside of us to partner with us to help out. And I just don't understand it for the life of me. And I think it's just really sad. I think all of us are just kind of saddened by the state of affairs as a result of this patch. This patch kind of is sort of, I think, the big kind of wake up call of, hey, we're treated very differently, very, very differently from your other titles.
Yeah, sorry, back guys.
Yeah.
So something that I kind of realized too, like being less plugged into Age of Empires 3 all the time, right? Is I think there's like a zeitgeist going on right now in gaming in general, where I think since like COVID happened, that companies got a little bit lax, and the world was not communicating. The world was kind of disorganized and disjointed, right? All across gaming right now, like whether it's strategy games, whether it is, like you can look at what happened with Sega and creating Assembly, you can look at what's happened with Paradox, you can look at what's happened with, Ubisoft, with the developer, Activision, Blizzard. Like, gamers are kind of tired of being jerked around. We're tired of this like corporate speak and not getting, it's like a kid knows when they're not like the favorite, people can pick up on things. We're not the favorite, but there are people, they keep saying that love Age of Empires 3, like I've seen it in the official Discord and from other people on the side. Oh, well, there's people in World's Edge that love Age of Empires 3. There's people in Forgotten Empires that love Age of Empires 3. Where are they? Where are they when we have a huge event? Where are they when we are releasing stuff? They're not in the chat saying, hey, did you guys check this out? Like, oh man, this was my favorite feature that I've been developing, right? Or, hey, I know it's controversial, but I added this card because of this historical event. I'm just a total dork over. Like, if you look at the Discords, like, it almost always devolves into a historical, often politically incorrect, at times, discussion of early modern stuff, because people love this time period. And this game has such a sandbox. There's so much cool stuff, scenarios, screenshots, mods, different versions to play competitively. Like, there's all of these options, and all we get is silence often, and then like very corporate feeling, like cookie cutter responses. And I really, if I could like drill in one thing, look, there's always going to be toxic people in this community. There's always going to be issues every patch. Like I even put in the official Discord somewhere, like, all right, who's going to do the giant goodbye speech in the forums because their OPs have received like a slight nerf. Like,
Yeah.
Who's going to be it? And then they'll be back in 3 months, right? Like, yes, there's all these idiosyncrasies and issues, but you have to, as a community manager and as a game developer, this is what people are saying, you set the tone on how things are going to be. A huge example would be a lot of competitive players get burned out because they feel like no one really listens to them, and they want the game to be catered to them. While at the same time, the devs have made it clear that they're not going to just cater to competitive players, and I think competitive players have realized that, and they try to play within the sandbox for the most part. Not that they don't complain and say this game's awful. And if you gave me, the guy who plays against 10 other people on the planet, perfect control, I'd make everything perfect. Sure, yes, there's that, but the community's moved on. We just need more direction. I think we need more love shown, as corny as it sounds from a soulless corporation. Like, I get it, it's your job.
Yeah.
But screenshots, berries, events. I have been and very popular. Recycle the darn events. It's Halloween week. Why not get the old PFPs that everybody loves?
Yeah.
Like, how hard is it to turn on a button to run the same thing that you did 3 years ago? How hard is it for Christmas? How hard, we used to get fun mods and all sorts of stuff. And it's just like, yes, you're stretched thin. Yes, Age of Mythology, we want it to succeed too. Just the more it succeeds, the more players get into the series, the more money they have to play with us.
Fuck, the fucking Santa Smash Invitational that we host every year is because of these fun, right?
Yeah.
Winter Wonderland map.
Yeah.
Like, that's the entire reason the Santa Smash Invitational even exists.
Yeah. There's so much opportunity that takes minimal effort, and I think as a company, somebody up there hopefully hears our cries, and because what I feel like all they do is they see the negatives and they just pass it off like we're just a negative community or this is the way things are and it's not worth it. I'm telling you, I would like to challenge that perception. So if you guys would spend more time being positive, yes, like in the early days of DE, they spent a lot of time. There was a lot of toxic voices in this community. I'm sure that was hard as a dev and as a worker to pour your heart and soul into it and see like the EP people shit on you.
Yeah.
That must have been hard, but you now have a whole generation of, so to speak, a whole cohort of players that know nothing but DE. They like DE. They like the changes to DE. Like when SerShark and I did the Revolt podcast, him and me being more competitive mindedly, we had issues with it. Overwhelming majority loved it. They love Revolts. They want more Revolts. They want more mechanics like that. So you guys have a chance as a company to foster a whole new way of Age of Empires 3, a different way. And if you guys don't do it, what you're going to get is the negative voices that you don't want to be prominent are going to be prominent, and the negative behaviors that you don't like dealing with are going to be more prominent. So I hope as like a team, now that they've had more staff, that they hear these things, they sit down, have a meeting, and realize that like you can't just put Age of Empires 3 on the back burner, because what's going to happen eventually is you're going to drive everybody away. You're going to be left with nothing, and then you're going to say, well, I guess it's not worth the time and effort because nobody plays this. And everybody loses. Everybody.
If they actually think, though, that because they just, this community is just so negative and they just throw it over their shoulder and they say, well, I don't want to deal with negativity. Like anything we do is just going to be perceived as negative, so we're just going to trudge on. They don't understand. I mean, that is the furthest thing from the truth. Well, first off, like ignoring negativity, like you're saying, is already the wrong way to go about it. Why don't you lean into it and hopefully learn from negativity, because there is positivity and negativity that exist in the same breath, right? Because we have been actually complimenting the patch all at the same time as downing their lack of communication, right? So be able to understand the two different things. Hell, you can even look at previous podcast episodes and us talking about patches beforehand and all of us saying this patch is actually quite good. We really like where the balance is at. They're doing a really good job. So if they ever need like a pick me up, a boost in terms of morale, they can just look at the fact that we have said those things. They can look at the fact that they have a vibrant community of Discords, YouTube channels, Twitch streamers that are all still playing the game and advocating for the game. But if you're gonna say, oh well, this negativity, this community, this, that, and the other, we're not gonna bother. How ridiculous! If that is actually the case, then I can't even wrap my mind around such a perspective to hold about us, simply because it's the furthest thing from the truth. It's the furthest thing from the truth. Yeah, there are people out there, we have yet to have named them, that are absolutely dragging down this community. But I'm not gonna say that it's that community and those people that are just the sole reason. There's lots of really great people who do a lot of really great work, and so they just need to open their eyes and see that, I think, if anything, if that is the case. But the more cynical side of me is like, that's definitely not it. It's simply the fact that in the numbers game and that they're playing, that they're like, we can truly get away with doing the bare minimum on this title and make money off of it, and everybody will still be grateful because we have released it, DLC civs in the past, and there are plenty of people in this community that I love very dearly, that I have discussions with. I think you guys are great, but every single person that says you just need to relax, you need to be patient with them, you don't need to get upset, you don't need to get toxic, relax. All those people are really making excuses for this.
And I think it should be a wake-up call for the people at World's Edge, or whoever's in charge of, I'm guessing it's World's Edge, who's in charge of running all the Age of Empires definitive editions, that 3 now has on average a higher player base than Mythology. This game is alive and well, and Mythology's released a month ago, 5 weeks, 6 weeks ago, and DE's been out for 4 years, and we've actually gained average players over the past year, and Mythology's already within 5 weeks at a lower player count than 3. I mean, it seems a little misguided that they're putting all their effort into the new game and it's failing so drastically, when realistically they could split their resources a little bit and give us a little bit more love, because if you look at it from a numbers perspective, from a player count perspective, we deserve it more than Mythology does.
Well, there's finances that go on, single player games and whatnot. But I would say, just simply based on no matter which way you twist it, there's a hunger for content from the Age of Empires 3 community. Yes, I get designing civs for this game is a lot harder than 2. I get that because they want scripted voices and there's a certain quality to post Age of Empires 2 DLC, that there is a significant investment, but I'm just talking cosmetics, man. There's
Give us paid cosmetics. Holy shit.
Yeah, there's such an appetite, and even it's kind of slimy, but mods, paid mods and stuff, it's a slippery slope, yes, but there's so many ways to monetize, and I would hope that, again, hoping that World's Edge is a little bit better staffed. They've survived the post-COVID crash, right, which is industry-wide right now. That they look at a lot of the stuff in this patch as a lost opportunity, but an opportunity to learn, and as a community, see the potential in the game that we all see, and try to format a better outrun, because I don't enjoy going into the Discord and watching everybody have a meltdown over a patch as much as anybody else. Mm-hmm. It's not fun. I also, the game, it's been almost a year since we've had any major changes. I'm not rearing to go play 10,000 hours into this, into it either. It's just, I think there's so much that could be done, and on our part, we'll continue to have fun and try to get the best out of this game. And all games do end, no life cycle is forever, but I would hope that as we go down whatever path Age of Empires 3 is, that there's more communication, more love shown, just some love, and a screenshot of berries for the next coming DLC, or just one potential thing. You can say, hey, it's pre-alpha, don't expect this to go in the game as is, it's not bait and switch, just give us something to discuss, because in the absence of it, there's not a lot of positivity at times, and nobody wants that. So a little bit of effort initially will go a long ways to saving the effort of having to come in. ICER as the mod team and the managers have experienced so many times, to a like steaming pile of angry gamers.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Anybody else? Anything to finish us off here?
No, I mean, we touched on pretty much everything that I wanted to kind of debate.
Anything, Madonna?
Like,
Italy may be good.
Everybody, yeah.
Is Sweden dead finally, Madonna?
Probably. Yeah. I'll leave it at that.
Madonna was very upset at the. He's like, oh, I guess I will just Musk Falcon again.
But I mean, to touch on that really briefly, decide what you want to do with fucking hacker pellets. Like, is it a goon? Is it not a goon? Like,
Just
they've changed the unit
back,
3 times.
Go back to the original Hackapel. That the heavy cavalry Ulan version. That I would take that any day now.
Yeah, you know.
Okay.
Well, that's a, to be fair too, that's another classic example of like the devs trying to give the players what they want. You know, like the path changes, like. And again,
Do they
and
even know though? Because they're not engaging with us.
But you know what though? Like, and this is something as a community to remind ourselves. Like, we as a community are also dog shit at actually getting what we want and being happy. Like, we are fucking terrible. That is one thing I think the community needs to improve upon. And maybe because the game is so eclectic and it's so complex, right? That it's difficult, right? I don't want to blame any one person, but like, oh my god, like. I want crossbows that go to the late game. We get crossbows to go to the late game. Oh, well, I didn't want them like that. I'm just going to make skirts. It's like, well, now the crossbow are dead for Italy. Good job. I want, Sweden not to be a Musk Falk civ. Okay, we'll give you hacket pellets. Well, this is toxic, so you have to nerf Carolingians. Okay, well, now we have to nerf the hacket pellets because now they're too buff. So now you have a crappy Carolian and a crappy hacket pellet. Like, and that's why I think this patch being so conservative is not a bad thing. Like, the worst thing they could have done, like, give credit to them, is do something wild, it fails, and then we're just stuck for 6 months with a broken game again, like with the 8 crossbow, debacle. So kudos to them for being a little conservative, being smart, and again, it's clear that people are doing the best they can with their resources, which is why I blame it systemically. Like, I think there are issues systemically with how business is being done, and that the systems of operation should probably be examined on how they conduct Age of Empires 3, because I know they spent time on this patch and for DLC, but you diminish returns because of the current state of things. So I hope things continue going well. And I'll be playing Ethiopia, even though the pathing around cows is horrible and greeneries are annoying. At the end of the day, I love the game. I love the community. I'll be fine. But before I sign off, kind of sign what SerShark said. I'm not excited for this DLC as I was before this patch dropped.
Yeah.
Because this is setting the stage. If it was a stopgap, it should have been absolutely communicated that way. Guys, this is what we can give you. It's not perfect. It's not innovative, but it's functional and it addresses the worst complaints we hear. That's what we should have gotten. Instead, I've got this and I've got this and a ticked off community to look forward to for the next 4 months, 5 months, 6 months until we get our DLC. So,
which will likely be delayed again unless it's going to be some sort of rush job like a data patch, which you're going to get 2 new civs that will be hardly distinguishable from each other in just a data patch, whatever. Maybe that's not fair. Maybe they have something amazing in store, but again, as has been indicated thus far, as you're saying, is that there is a lack of trust and now a lack of excitement. I mean, a lot of people are going to buy it. I know that because they'll play it in single player and then they'll be patched into, being finally folded into the meta, right? But for me, in my hard-earned money, you're not going to get it. Like, it just on a principle, because unless something drastically changes in the next few months of how you're going to communicate. I mean, heck, I'm going to be even surprised if they even remember to give us like some sort of Christmas something in December. They'll probably just totally forget.
To be fair, they forgot about our 3-year anniversary completely.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
So it is. It's a tough time, man. Again, I don't want to single out. Because again, I believe in like systems, right? I believe that everyone's working with the tools they're given. So I'm going to assume the best and assume that everybody, devs, community, is doing what they're given the prerogative to do, and they're doing the best of their job. So my takeaway would be like the next time you guys have a meeting, it's time to look at your systems because the results are not always working well. Again, we're just a small member of the community, but I've heard this on every Discord. I've heard this on Reddit. I've heard this on YouTube comments. I've heard this, even on like some of the Chinese ones, which is hard to translate and they're spicy. People are, they're not raving about this patch and they're not raving about the future of the game. So let's, let's just do better. I think we all can.
Okay. Well,
also Jungle Bowmen are still glitched.
For the record.
Well, and I mean, I've been scrolling through it. Everybody can read these comments of like, go on the official forums. Like, tell me the positivity to be found there. You know what I mean? And I mean, this is so sad. It's so sad. But anyway, we're gonna keep producing content for you guys. We're gonna keep our nose to the grindstone. We have some other things planned, potentially a website in the works, a Twitter profile in the works, some other things that we're kind of palling around with. So we're pretty excited for the Age of Sunbros going forward, and it continues to grow and continues to do good work. But man, if anybody's still listening to this, developers, community managers, whoever,
get your shit together.
we appreciate you guys and girls, but
I'll get your shit together.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know what you're doing. This is sad. But anyway, this was SerSharkDad and guests and friends, family, and we are going to be signing off.
I'm not your friend.
I'm not your buddy, pal.
Yeah, we are going to be signing off, and we're going to go play some Italy. So you guys have a fantastic week. Thank you so much, and feel free to leave a like, leave your comments, let us know what you think about the patch and the developer team and the subsequent drama, and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great week.
Peace.
Bye.